this administration is they talk a whole lot. I haven't seen a whole lot of action though.
I believe the next 4 years might be one of the greatest wealth building opportunities in real estate.
A couple important acronyms for people to be aware of and know about for 2025 moving forward. Is the MMCT, or Majority Minority Census Tract. And the CRA acronym I talked about was an act created in 1977 encouraging banks to bring more financial services to underrepresented areas.
Even if you have the home, they're still giving out the money. I mean, I just got someone under contract and the bank is still giving them $7,500.
Everything we're seeing with Doge, with inflation a little bit, some of the executive orders that he's putting out, do you feel as if we will see something happen negatively or positively with his administration when it comes to the housing market?
Here is the truth. I am always looking for practical ways to help you build, wealth, specifically generational wealth and legacy. And one of the best ways you can do that is with life insurance. That's why I partner with my friends at Ethos. They made buying life insurance simple and hassle-free. Whether you are the main provider for your family or want to make sure your loved ones aren't left with financial burdens like debt, life insurance is a powerful way to provide financial security. As a business owner and a homeowner, I took this seriously and secured a $2 million life insurance policy through Ethos. Why? Because having a peace of mind, knowing my family will be cared for when I'm no longer here, is extremely priceless. What I love about Ethos is their quick and straightforward process. You can apply entirely online in as little as 10 minutes. I'm not even exaggerating. I did it myself. Listen, no medical exams, just a few health questions that you must answer honestly. Plus, it's affordable, making it easier to protect your family without breaking the bank. Listen, I want you to lock in your rate today by visiting anthonyoneal.com/life insurance or click the link below to get your personalized free quote today. Listen, as we're getting back to this show, I want you to protect your loved ones. Don't play around with it. Be like me. I promise you. It's a hard conversation to have, but you will sleep peacefully knowing that you took care of your family. Go to anthonyoneal.com/life insurance. Let's get back to the show to help you keep building this wealth. All right, family, before we get into the rest of today's show, listen, nearly 75% of you all are not subscribed to the channel. Listen to me again. 75% of you all are not a part of the E3 community. And we are literally just expanding in the areas of abundance, wellness, and freedom. And that is the main focus of this year. So listen, if you're loving some of the content, you may not watch me every single week, but if you could just hit that subscribe button and be a part of this family, there are some extra perks that comes from just subscribing. We're giving out discounts in the AO store. We're having events solely just for the community, and you will get an email with the discount code and the VIP code and all the special things that's going on. So please hit that subscribe button, whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on podcast, and I promise you, it's going to be amazing. When we hit 1 million on YouTube, I'm giving away a luxury quality used vehicle to one of my E3 community members on July 1st of 2025. So listen, hit that subscribe button and let's get back to today's show. God bless.
There's an article that came out last, I think about a couple of weeks ago, and it was talking about how the DC market, the values of homes have just completely dropped and just went crazy. Is that true?
Cap. Not true.
It's not true.
It's not.
Where did it come from?
Essentially, people were looking at a 3-month value drop in the city proper, saying that 20% of median home price value drop is significant, it's catastrophic, or symboling some type of sell-off.
Okay.
From our experience, and even from earlier 3-month periods in 2024, we saw as much as a 15 or 16% drop in a short time frame. So there is seasonality that happens. Values go up and down as inventory goes up and down with the normal seasonality of our market.
Okay.
There was not enough data yet to say that the things that the new administration are doing is having a negative impact on DC proper and regional home prices. In fact, in the region, prices are actually up regionally, and inventory-wise, we're seeing an increase that is consistent with seasonality. That's all.
Do you feel as if this administration, Donald Trump's, and his administration, everything we're seeing with Doge, with inflation a little bit, some of the executive orders that he's putting out, do you feel as if we will see something happen negatively or positively with his administration when it comes to the housing market?
I got mixed reviews on that.
Okay.
Right. I got mixed feelings on that. One, we're seeing immediate impacts right now because we do have clients that are reaching out to us that are selling their properties as they are right now. There are clients that are scared that they're going to lose their jobs.
Okay.
There are clients that have lost their jobs and they're trying to figure out what to do right now. Like we are seeing the results of that. So with that, that means there's more inventory that's going to be coming on the market, and then there's that fear around it that can bring a little bit of chaos to it.
Okay.
Whether that negatively or positively affects the total market, we don't know just because the data hasn't shown it yet. But I think we can say that obviously for those individuals who are part of USAID or who are kind of on a hot seat of losing their jobs, that can be detrimental to them, especially if they've been in their probationary period less than a year. They uprooted their life. They moved from Alabama to DC, and now they're saying they don't have a job and they just got here. So that has created some chaos amongst like the housing market up here.
I have a couple of questions that we talked about. There's 5 things I want to cover within today's show, right? Before we get to those 5 things, what would you all say to the individuals who are a little nervous right now with Doge, with this administration? What would you say that they need to do when it comes to the housing market? Let's say this particular individual was prepared to buy a home, and now they're like saying, I don't know, I better not. Or I have a home, but it might be too much home if I get let go. Should I sell? Real quick, give us 2 or 3 things that they should really consider asking themselves before making a drastic decision.
Yeah, I think for one, no rash decisions. As you teach folks a lot, any financial decision that is driven by emotion is probably not a wise one in the long term.
Yes, sir.
Look at all the data around you. Look at your actual financial plan. Look at how much time you've got, how much runway you've got in the worst case scenario, and make decisions based off of that, not off of a lot of outside media noise or just fear that's driven. Because folks who can win in a fearful environment are the folks who have been prepared. So, we are having simultaneous convos of some investors, some speculative individuals that are asking the question, how can I win right now? And those are the folks, again, that have had cash, that have a plan, and understand where their total budget, allotment, and lifestyle can go to accomplish those financial goals of real estate. So my first piece of advice is just hold fast on making a rash decision and double back down on your plan, your budget, and that safety net that you've got before you make any swing in one direction or the other.
Yeah, even those people who are kind of on a hot seat, they're still looking at investments because they're using it as an opportunity for offense. Saying, well, let this offense protect me. Like, sometimes a good offense beats defense, right?
Yes.
So they're saying, let me buy more property, let me get more cash flow, let me build up more equity. That way I can protect myself in case something does go awry.
Yeah. One of the things I've been telling people, 2 great things. I hope you all are listening to this. Because, both of those are solid. I think my thing, if I was to add on to that, is to double back on what you said. Now is the time to not make a rash decision, but to make an impactful decision, and that is go ahead and make sure that you have at least 3 to 6 months inside your savings account. And when I say 3 to 6 months, I want you to focus down on 3 to 6 months of your net pay, right? Just focus on getting that safety net built, so that way when life happens, if that's this year or next year, you're prepared for it. I'm scared about selling an asset quickly. I'm scared about getting rid of something that can produce income and go towards my net worth in my future because of the fear of losing out because of this administration. One thing I have learned about this administration is they talk a whole lot. I haven't seen a whole lot of action though. I've seen a whole lot of executive orders, but I haven't seen a whole lot of Congress saying stamp approve.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes we listen to things and we make a rational decision and boom, it doesn't even happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think being prepared is, like you said, it's the most important thing. And so real estate is just one piece of the pie. Having your ducks in a row, having your 3 to 6 months saved up.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you buy real estate this year or next year, like, there's an order to it.
Yes, sir.
Right? It's one thing in front of you. It's decent and in order, as the good word says, right? So we want to make sure that, hey, you got your money saved up before you go and buy a house. Like, don't go buy a house and you're on E. That's not a good idea. That's not fiscally responsible.
Yeah. let's get to these 5 things real quick that I really wants to talk about. And the first thing is that I've noticed that the housing market squeeze. So we're seeing rising rents and declining home affordability. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So if we look at a lot of different data sources nationally, we are still seeing the cost to provide rental housing going up,
Yes.
which owners, specifically of smaller rental accommodations, have to increase their rent just to keep up with it. So that presents an interesting situation on both sides. If you are a landlord, you do have to look at making sure you're protecting your spread and your margin that you're making on your rental property, which means that rent might have to go up. For people looking to get into the landlord business and purchase properties to rent out, that means you have an opportunity to get higher rental returns now. Yeah, I mean, that's a real thing. And it's more so, and Ryan can talk about amongst the different asset classes, but in the single family or smaller multifamily, like rental space, you are seeing those rents go up. Some of the larger multifamily, which you can talk about, has seen more of a kind of a depressed factor just because of higher numbers of inventory there. But I think when people look at both sides of the market, you got to say, I can't have it all at the same time. I can't have the asset be cheap and then get crazy returns on the other side. So when I'm seeing rentals go up on one side, when my cost of capital is a little bit higher, that means I maybe need a bigger down payment to make sure that my debt is controlled so that my spread or my margin that I'm seeking on rental is protected. And that's just really simple principles when you're looking at investment properties. How much space do I have between the money that can be coming in on it and what it costs me to operate it? Smart investors do have the opportunity to win if they've got their cash in place to do it.
Would you say at 7% right now, getting into the rental game is still a good game?
As long as the math works.
Okay.
7%, 17%, 0.7%. It doesn't really matter. All that really matters is when you have your monthly payment of principal, interest, taxes, insurance, right? The fees that you're going to be paying to the bank, along with covering any potential expenses. So you put money away for that, for bad things happening. You put money away for vacancy. If you put money away for all those things and the potential rent is more than the potential expenses, you're in a good spot.
So you're saying, let's just break this down for the people, and I know it's way more, but what do you say the basic things need to be inside that? The rent, insurance, taxes, and
CapEx. We call it capital X or capital expenditures, things that are required to maintain, repair, fix up, essentially rainy day funds.
Rainy day funds.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
cool.
if you got a roof that's going to be needing to be replaced in 5 years, well, guess what? You should be putting away money just like anything right now. So you say, hey, we're going to put out 15% of our gross revenue away for rainy day expenses.
Okay.
And I think one thing, just to point to this, like what you're saying, is it a good investment or not?
Yeah.
The fundamentals of real estate investing is that your first year, across, minus the last few years where we had 3% interest rates, prior to that, your first year, you're not usually making that much money. And I think that just needs to be understood.
That's so good.
So 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you talk about people, oh, my property's cash flowing great. It's like, yeah, when did you buy it? You bought it 5 years ago, 10 years ago? I bet it is.
Okay.
As it should be.
Right.
So we always overestimate what we should get in 1 year and underestimate what we should be able to deliver in 5 or 10 years.
And when that cost of capital goes up like it does now, all that does is extend your ownership horizon when you get from the red to the black, black to the green.
Yeah.
And I think as folks come in, we talked about rash decisions earlier.
Yeah.
You don't come in with a rash decision and expectation, I'm going to make a killing right now while there is pain, while there is frustration, while there is fear out there. No, I come in now with a longer term plan to say, man, a 5, 7, 10-year window, I can really win because I was maybe able to get a slightly better purchase price now, right? Like that's the game right now is people that are really looking longer term and have all the things in place to protect themselves and be thoughtful with that long-term investment.
Man, this is good. Oftentimes I'm seeing inside my comments and seeing inside my emails like, man, I'm paying too much in rent and I want to get into a home. And they're asking me, are there any programs? Are there any loan programs out there that they're not aware of that they can get into homes? And as much as I learn and study about money, I know of some, but I was like, yo, let me invite my brothers from Coalition Group back on. Let's have an honest conversation because I think it's important. And y'all, we're going to drop Coalition Group's information inside of the show notes. These are the guys who handle all of my real estate play and educate me and run deals by me that I be moving too slow on, that I don't jump on. There's another one that I missed out on because I just moved too slow. I got to get better. Y'all. But if you're in the DMV area and you really want to get into real estate, this is the group to go. They'll help you get into anything: rental properties, first home, second home, third home, you name it. So we'll put all the information in show notes. But help me out, brothers. Do we have any special loan programs that are new that people should be looking into if they're ready to get into the home market?
A couple important acronyms for people to be aware of and know about for 2025 moving forward.
Okay.
Is the MMCT, or Majority Minority Census Tract,
Okay.
and that is funded by the CRA, or the Community Reinvestment Act. In 2025, a lot of the lenders that we work with, both locally and around the country, are bringing more products to the market that fit the Majority Minority Census Tract guidelines, meaning in areas that have over a 50% population that comprises of a racial or ethnic minority, banks are incentivized to create special programs to help loans get funded there. So that's a bigger thing we've seen. Some of our legacy lenders, from the big banks down to community banks, are really putting money in the street based on these guidelines. And the CRA acronym I talked about was an act created in 1977, encouraging banks to bring more financial services to underrepresented areas. So in 2025, you just got more banks making that decision to bring grant money, not extra loans, grant money to specific geographic areas.
You're seeing that a lot in Washington, D.C., like the city itself, Prince George's County. You're also seeing it in Baltimore City. And, it's across the country, but just to give an example of local, I mean, we're seeing banks, lenders, 100% financing, no PMI.
No PMI?
No PMI. And they'll give you 20, 30, 40, 50 grand. I mean, it's pretty intense.
And that's as a grant, so that means you don't pay that back.
Correct.
So you're getting 100% financing,
yeah,
no PMI, with 20 and 30,000 to put down on a home that you don't have to pay back.
Correct.
Still at a 7% interest rate?
Correct.
Yeah, the interest rate is going to be the same. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can't get around that, but now we have programs that's helping the average person
Correct.
get into a home.
Correct.
Are y'all aware of any stipulations that comes with that you have to qualify for something like that?
Well, for all of them, for any mortgage product we talk about here, you do have to apply with that actual lender, and they're going to look at your debt to income ratio. They're going to look at your credit scores.
Yeah.
Most of them fit within the conventional guidelines, but there are some programs that are applicable within FHA guidelines. And FHA guidelines allow a lower credit score, higher debt to income ratio. Another specific kind of regional example is City National Bank, which is actually a black-owned
Bank.
Black-owned bank.
Yeah.
In LA, parts of specific census tracts in California, they've got up to $50,000 available through this Majority Minority Census Tract money. So in some of the higher price markets, that dollar amount for grant can go up significantly, and it can actually impact the rate because there is no stipulation on exactly what that money is used for. Some people will use it to put points on their loan to have a lower fixed interest rate for the life of the loan. There's lots of play depending on where you're at, but most of the time it's the same conventional or FHA approval guidelines.
Talk to me about new homeowners, new homeowner buyers, because I have a cousin, for an example. Her daughter's graduating this year, and I know she wants to get into her first home, but she was like, "Man, Anthony, I'm going to need some help because I don't have 20% to put down." And she was like, "And Anthony, to be honest with you, I don't think I have 5%." And she's making decent money, but she needs a step up. And I think she's not the only one. I think a lot of people who are watching right now are saying, "Yo, I need a little bit of help too to get into a home." Are there any good programs for new homeowners?
Yeah, quite a few. I mean, we talk about some of the ones that follow this Majority Minority Census Tract.
Okay.
We've got another program with a regional bank called Truist Bank.
Truist. That's my bank.
Truist does a great job right now.
They do.
They've got a $10,000 grant out there for first-time buyers, and most of these also have not first-time buyers, meaning your name is not on the deed to another home right now. So you could have owned a home before and you sold it. Getting back into the game, you can get access to the money too.
Yeah, I would even say some of them, even if you have the home, they're still giving out the money. I mean, I just got someone under contract, and the bank is still giving them $7,500. So that's something to keep in mind too. That hey, as long as it's your primary residence, and you might own another home, but they might be willing to still give you some money. They're not going to give you 50 grand, but they might give you a few dollars here.
So what if my home is in a trust on the deed, but my name is not on the deed? can I still get access to that 50 grand?
You are still responsible for that debt. So as the like the trust is the legal instrument that separates you, but you as a person are still
because the bill is still coming to Anthony O'Neill's for the mortgage payment, but the deed is in the name of my trust.
Yeah, it's what's on the note versus on the deed is kind of where the mortgage.
But and also inside of the trust, they're going to see who is the executor of the trust, who's really owning the trust. They're going to want to see that paperwork. We just went through a couple of those too. So
for real.
But
okay,
if your property, the name is not, the property is not in your name, and the loan is not in your name, then that's basically a business. At that point, they're not looking at that property as your primary residence. So that is an opportunity to do that. You will incur some costs in the sense of that you might get some higher interest rates if you're refinancing or anything like that into that new loan. But that is a way to get the home out of your name, get into a business, and then, go utilize some of these opportunities because it's a business at that point. You're not a primary homeowner at that point.
I'm curious. This is not one of the questions that we have down, but I'm curious. What are y'all thought processes on putting a home inside of a trust? Like, when would you all tell a client to put your home inside of a trust?
I think it's a long-term strategy conversation because we get a lot of folks to come at us and say, "Oh, I need my house to be in an LLC. I'm gonna get an LLC. I'm gonna get more, let's get it thrown out."
Hey, that's the TikTok people, dog. It's the TikTok. Oh, I need to be here and run this play right here too. I'm like, bro, you don't need to do all that. That's TikTok, bro.
Yeah. So trusts are primarily a long-term strategy and protection from the worst-case scenario of you dying early or something happening out of your control. The trust just gives you more control on exactly what, where, and from a tax shelter standpoint, a trust can be beneficial. But just for everyday ownership, I think it's good to fit as a part of the plan, not necessarily required right away, especially if that's your only property.
Yeah, but if you have family, you have a wife, kids, you have all that stuff, you want to make sure you determine what happens to your properties, your assets, if something happens to you. That's going to be the way to go. But I mean, it was a while before I put my home in a trust, to be honest with you, but that was my first home as well. Yeah.
That's good. So first homeowners, TikTokers out there who say, man, put your home in a trust, get a land trust, do this, do that. Y'all saying, there's some value to it, but there's really no rush to it.
I say consult with an estate attorney and have that as a part of your entire trust and estate plan.
Yes.
If you don't have any other assets, that's an additional cost because it's easy to put a house in a trust at any time.
Facts.
Right? So like I would not rush to do that first.
Yeah.
I'd be focused on what are the things I'm doing in the house to make sure I'm improving it. Where's my insurance on the house? Like, what are the things I'm doing to make sure the asset is performing well as I'm adding others to my pot? Absolutely consider the trust as a piece of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All my homes are in trust. I like the privacy of it, and I also like the safety of it.
Yeah,
for sure.
For what we're doing. So I love that. And let's talk about DC because, brothers, this market is just interesting. And I keep every time Keith send me something, bro. I like it. Then if I move a little bit too slow, it's gone. But then some of them are still there today.
Yeah.
Like the market is just up and down. For the people who live in the DMV area, let's talk about it. I mean, is it a good market?
It's a dynamic market. Interesting market. And I mean, look, in the same week, I've had a Northern Virginia client that was up against 6 other offers on a $800,000 house that had an after renovation value of 1.1, and another outstanding multifamily property that I've had on the market for over 3 months with nobody coming for it. Like right now, like that's happening at the same time. So I think it depends on where that property people are seeking is positioned from a price standpoint. Is it priced right? Is somebody trying to reach 2021 numbers, or are they realistic with kind of today's numbers? And how many other people want it? If you got a bunch of other people that want something because there's value add, you're gonna pay more. If someone has been off in terms of position or something is just not quite right about that product, either condition, price, access, then you got an opportunity to really win and get, I think what's the biggest one I got recently was on a $950,000 home. We had clients come down, we got the seller to come down almost $60,000 total. And that home had only been on the market for about a month, right? So it's you can have a story in kind of every example happening in a market like ours because it's just so dynamic. You got really hyper local difference too, which is hard to make a blanket statement.
So here's a question that I have. Ryan, maybe you can help me out with this because me and you always talk about this. I want to get a home, and I want to get a home that I can rent out. If I buy a home, because you said something earlier, you may not make any money that first year. Are you saying that I may not get anyone in the home to rent for the first year? Or are you just saying that it will not be profitable in renting because you may have to do some tune-ups to the house, etc.? Like, is it still a good market, especially in the DMV area, to go get a home, to buy as an investment property, to buy as a rental property? And if I buy that home, am I sitting on that home for a while with no renting it? Like, are people still looking to rent in today's day and time?
Oh, people are renting all day. So that's not the problem. The problem that I would be concerned about is that if I am buying a home and I'm expecting that if I rent that entire home out for it to cover all of the expenses and have some profit at the end, I think that can be difficult. That can be more difficult.
Okay.
I think if you are looking for ways to reduce your burn on the house, right? And you have an English basement, or you have a walkout basement, or it's a multifamily, or you just have roommates, right? You just have roommates. Those are ways to reduce your costs. And obviously, the more doors you have, the more creative you're willing to be, the more you're able to reduce your expenses in home. So if you're young and out of college and you're cool with, you still living frat life, right? And you got 4 bedrooms and you stay in one of them. I stayed in the smallest bedroom in my house.
Are you serious?
I stayed in the smallest bedroom in my house and I rented the biggest bedrooms out. $1,200, $900. I did that before, right? Could I do it now? No. That'd be really difficult.
Bro, you got me thinking like, dang, I could rent out my entire basement. I won't like it though.
You wouldn't like it though. So lifestyle does play a major factor in that. But if you're willing to take a little bit of a risk, right, in the sense of, hey, this is a little bit tighter than I want to, a little bit of lifestyle cramp, if you will, the reward will be higher later. You just got to choose if that's how you want to live your life or not. But the reward, I believe in real estate, so the reward will be higher later.
I'll be thinking, man. I'm like, oh my gosh. But one of the things one of my mentors said, man, he doesn't look at his rental properties as cash flow within the first 5 years. He says, this is a wealth play for me. It's a net worth play for me. To where, okay, what is your strategy? Get someone in there, fix up the home, get it right, get it stable. 5 years from now, okay, how much money am I making off of that house? But the first 5 is like, let's get someone in there, let's clean it up, let's make sure everything was good. But he was like, that just go towards my net worth.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's not a monthly play. But he says, but now, I think he has a little over 100 situation. He was like, yeah, now I'm making, $30,000, $40,000 a month off of my rental properties. He was like, but I bought these homes close to 10, 15, 20 years ago.
That's it.
But he was like, so now I got the profit, but he said, I think people come in looking, well, if I could buy this house, babe, we can make an extra $3,000. And then they'll get the extra $3,000 on top of the rent, but then the house broke down. Now they got to put that money back into the home.
Absolutely. Man.
He was like, so I don't even get excited on my new properties. He says, man, I don't even see the income on my new properties. I asked because he has a person who works his houses, okay, what all needs to go into the house? Yeah. And he'll do, all right, put that money and let that cash flow. So he says, what I do not do, I won't go in there and pay for it out of pocket. Right. If it's something major, he was like, I'll pay for it out of pocket. But if it's something that can be fixed over time, okay, cool. As we get the money in the account, let's go fix it. Right. And he said, I'm very intentional about it. Like, my renters don't have to ask me to come fix it, but we already know what needs to be fixed. So we're going to come in there and just fix it and show our renters like, yo, we value you. We appreciate you. But at the end of the day, while they're renting the house, it's still my house. Right. And I still want my house to be in good standings, because if I wait for a problem, it's just going to be a more expensive problem down the road.
1,000%.
So I was like, okay. And so now I'm just like, but man, with 7%, Ron, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Hey man, don't let the numbers. Here's what I'm gonna say. And take out politicals left and rights. I believe the next 4 years might be one of the greatest wealth building opportunities in real estate that we will see in our lifetime. And, you know, I'm not, you know, obviously we're not going into the politics. I stand on a certain way or however, but now that we're here, now that we are where we are,
right.
Show me the money. I think there's going to be an amazing opportunity for wealth building in real estate over the next 4 years. I really, truly do.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm excited. Like I'm getting ready. Like you said, I'm preparing my coffers. Right. I'm getting it right. And so we're going to take advantage of these opportunities.
That's the last question I want to talk about with you all is how can this millennial generation, Gen Z generation, and specifically people of color take advantage of the 2025 trends the next 4 years of this life? How can we take advantage of the season that we're in? Oftentimes we see people complaining about the season. Oftentimes we see on social media, like, oh my God, I'm like, man, y'all are crazy. This is why y'all are broke. Because we want to complain about this and complain about that, rather than sitting down and figure out, okay, cool, great. I don't like this. I don't need to talk about that anymore. How do we broke? What do y'all suggest when it comes to the real estate market? What are some trends? What are some things that you are seeing that's working in the real estate economy that we should start doing research on and looking into possibly doing for ourselves?
Real quick, your point of people looking and complaining about all of the problems at once and using a different excuse at a different time to not participate is why they're never really going to get anywhere. So I think as we look at the challenges that face our market now, if we look at a place like DC proper, where we've got some of our neighborhoods that have seen values go down a little bit because of reduced demand, that presents an opportunity, especially with some of the single family products. I'm talking a townhouse with a basement apartment. We had one of our agents showing a under $400,000 completely renovated townhouse with a basement apartment. And as you look at that product in the city, you say, okay, for today, is that interest rate gonna make that cost a little bit more than it did a few years ago? Yes. But is the rental return on what I could get for that still pretty strong and only have the potential to go up with time? Also, yes. So I'm gonna choose to say, if I make that lifestyle adjustment choice to maybe pay a little bit more than I felt like I should, or my emotions told me that I should be paying for this product, but I have the opportunity to own that with time. It's both an equity and net worth play that maybe is not gonna have those immediate cash flow returns that we would love to see, but it has got the longer vision and the understanding that in terms of product being delivered in all cities and cities proper, single family is the last thing they're building. Say that again. Almost every city, the last thing that is getting built in terms of new product is single family. Building apartments, building condos, building multifamily. There's not enough dirt to build a single family in a lot of cities, especially a place like DC that's smaller. So if I can own that, even if the cost to acquire it is a little bit higher, my ownership horizon being longer and the equity opportunity that I can play is the right way to think about it.
Got it.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just believe in the fundamentals.
Okay.
So learn the fundamentals and believe in them. So if the fundamentals say, hey, look, I need to buy the home at this price, you know, for this amount, and I'm looking for this type of home, like that's what you look for. And then once you see those opportunities, you got to move. Like you can't sit around. I'll give you a simple example. We just got a property under contract for a client, $310,000, semi-detached home in DC. That's going to rent for $3,100.
What?
So like that is something that is still existing in this and today.
How come you ain't called me?
Now you
What's that lifestyle?
now you know. And so you'll see that. And then the other thing I would say is try to be in a path of growth. So DC can be difficult for some people. They don't see those opportunities, those deals. They're like, well, what can I do? Well, Prince George's County's like increase in value is still happening. The Northern Virginia's increase in value is still happening. There's tons of new construction in Charles County. So just thinking about where the path of growth is and get in that path and let the work do itself. Like get things done that you don't have to be, you know, adding the value, the passive ads, right? Being in the path of growth, buying a home that's enough where a family want to buy it. Like a single family right now, a 1-bedroom condo is very difficult, right? It's tough to rent, it's tough to sell. But a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, somebody still got to live there, right? Buying in school districts that people want to live in. There's all these different things that once you start stacking these these interesting opportunities together, now you get something that's like, okay, this actually really works.
Facts. Well, brothers, I try to get y'all on at least once a month just to keep our community updated on all things real estate. I do believe when it comes specifically us, people of color, that we got to get in real estate. We got it, bare minimum, we need to become homeowners. And then after that, we got to figure out how do we start getting multiple doors, 2 doors. And so y'all, we're going to keep them coming. We're going to drop their information below. We're trying to get them on a network to have their own show, come out here at least once or twice a week. So y'all be praying for that, because I want to make sure that we're educating you all and continue to update you on things that are happening that can help you build wealth. So do me a favor, share this show. Reach out to them if you're in the DMV area and you're looking to get into the real estate game or get into your first home or sell a home, etc. Anything and all things real estate, hit up my brothers. All right, so we'll put the information below. Appreciate y'all. Keith wasn't feeling good today. Praying for you, man. Pray everything was well. He's my realtor, and man, love y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you.
We'll see you on the next show. Peace out.